From fantastic felines and fearsome bears to deadly killer bees, here are 20 of the most amazing animal hybrids. 20. Mule. So we'll start things off with this beast, because it would be kind of strange if you didn't know of this hybrid. The mule, of course, is the product of a male donkey, a jack, and a female horse, or mare. Historically, they've been valued as pack animals thanks to the strength, endurance, and surprising agility. As for the animals being stubborn, well, experts say that's kind of a misnomer which arises from the animal's rather sensible refusal to be overworked. 19. Beefalo. These hybrids are also known as Cattalo, and they're the offspring of domestic cattle and American bison. They've been around for a while now, dating back to the 1800s. These beefalo tend to be hardier than their progenitors, and they do less ecological damage when they're grazing. But due to the excessive crossbreeding, there are now only 4 wild buffalo herds that are genetically unmixed. 18. The YAKALO. Now this is a cross between an American pure bison cow and a bull yak. Those are animals that are native to the Himalayas of the Indian subcontinent. Scientists created the creatures as they were conducting experiments in hybridization during the 1920s, but only a few YAKALO calves actually survived, and that led to the program being shut down by 1928. 17. Tigons. Now here's the first of several hybridized felid creatures on a list, and this one gets its name from its tiger father and its lioness mother. The hybrids display physical traits of both species, including the lion's mane on males and tiger stripes, but growing to around 400 pounds or 180 kilograms, they don't get much larger than the parents. Like some other feline hybrids, this one exists only in captivity. But unlike many hybrids though, this one is not sterile. 16. Geep. Although sheep and goats can appear similar, they belong to different genera, and the product of such a pairing is called a geep. However, they are often stillborn. The animals were initially created in a lab in England in 1984, and researchers noted that the hybrids that survived were composed of a mosaic of both sheep and goat tissue. Areas that grew from the sheep tissue were hairy, while those that grew from the goat tissue were woolly. 15. Iron Age pigs. This hybrid was created in the 1980s by mating a domestic pig with a wild boar. The idea was to recreate a pig species represented in prehistoric works of art from the European Iron Age. And while they did bear a resemblance to the ancient ancestors, the modern-day porkers proved too aggressive and difficult to deal with. However, they are still being raised, but mostly for the continent's specialty meat markets. 14. PUMAPARDs. This critter is a cross between a puma, or cougar, and a leopard. And in contrast to some felid hybrids, those two bigger cats produce an offspring that exhibits dwarfism, growing only about half the size of the parents. They were first bred in the US in the late 19th century, but later attained global popularity. 13. Land and sea iguanas. The first such hybrid specimens appeared in the Galapagos Islands in 1981 and were documented as the product of male marine iguanas and female land iguanas. By 2003, about 20 had been documented. Experts say that these hybrid reptiles can survive on land or in the sea, however, they are likely sterile. 12. COYWOLVES. Now, this animal is the hybrid product of a wolf and an eastern coyote. Scientists have determined it carries about 1/4 wolf DNA and 2/3 coyote DNA, while its remaining genetic material comes from domestic dogs. They've been observed roaming north of the Great Lakes and in West Virginia. Now, like wolves, they can take down larger prey with powerful jaws, and they hunt in packs. Like coyotes, they can adapt well to cities. However, they can be 40% bigger than their western cousins. Wildlife biologists say the hybrids were created when the two species were forced to live closer to one another, and so they mated. (11) Savannah cats. A serval is an African wildcat, and when you cross a domestic cat with one of them, you get a critter called a savannah cat. They can weigh upwards of 20 pounds or 9 kilograms and are highly desired as pets. They're known as fast runners, and from a standing position, they can leap some 8 feet high, that's about 2.5 meters. They're known to be sociable and friendly, and unlike many cats, these hybrids enjoy the water. However, certain parts of the world do not welcome them. Australia, in particular, views them as a potential threat to native wildlife there, and their importation has been banned. (10) Zebroids. That term describes the offspring that results from breeding a zebra and any other equine, and it's a generic term for all zebra hybrids. They've been bred since the 19th century, and in most cases are created with a zebra stallion as sire. A zebra donkey hybrid is known by several names, including zonkey, and the offspring of a zebra and a horse is called a zorse, of course. And for the record, it's also referred to as a zebra mule. Now, those hybrids are sterile and extremely rare, and generally occur where the two animals are found in close proximity to one another. But such interbreeding has been going on for a long time in the wild. Even Charles Darwin mentioned them in his landmark Origin of Species. 9. CAMA. Camels and llamas. Yes, they do bear a resemblance to one another. So, why not create a hybrid species from the two? Well, that was the philosophy of scientists in 1990's Dubai when they crossed a male dromedary camel with a female llama. Ideally, the animal would have yielded a higher production of wool than a llama, and it was expected that this critter would have the size and strength of a camel while having the llama's more cooperative temperament. But the hybrids, called CAMAs, turned out to be extremely aggressive, and the experiment was stopped. Only 5 CAMAs were ever produced. 8. WHOLPHIN. Now, these marine mammal hybrids are the product of a false killer whale dad and a common bottlenose dolphin mum. And while a few have been reported in the wild, only one is known to exist in captivity, and that's in Hawaii's Sea Life Park. Its name, wholphin, might be a little misleading though. The animal is not a cross between a whale and a dolphin because, taxonomically speaking, both species are placed within the oceanic dolphin family in the suborder of toothed whale. 7. Hybrid blacktip sharks. Around 57 hybrid sharks have been discovered in Australian waters, and some experts think the discovery could have implications that will extend worldwide. Marine biologists found the predators possessed DNA from both the Australian blacktip shark and the common blacktip shark, and accordingly the animals have a size that's in between that of the parents at about 5.5 feet long. Experts say it is the first verified case of cartilaginous fishes producing hybrids, and if the hybrid creatures prove stronger than their pure breed parents, they might eventually replace them altogether. 6. Bloody parrot. Now, its full name is blood parrot cichlid. It's known to be a hybrid fish, thought to be the product of the large Midas fish from Costa Rica and the redhead cichlid of Central America. The animals were created, though, in Taiwan in the mid-1980s, and as you have likely sussed out, the fish get their common name thanks to the bright reddish coloration. 5. LEOPONS. These animals are a combination of leopard and lion, and are amazing critters to look at. They possess leopard-like spots, while the heads are similar to that of a lion. These animals are unlikely to occur in the wild and have only been bred in captivity, and the first documented cases date to India in the early 20th century, where the animals were bred for the skins. 4. Crossbreed canines. Did you know the term designer dog dates to the late 20th century when breeders experimented with crossing purebred poodles with other purebred breeds? And by the way, we are detailing from hybrids here, since that term refers to the offspring of critters that belong to different species. Now, there's a lot of crossbreed dogs running around these days, from the American Bully to the Sushan, if you want to go from A to Z there. Now, one combination we found interesting is the American Bull Boxer. That's a crossbreed of English Bulldog and a Boxer. We noted that these critters are good with families and are popular choices as guard dogs as well. So until someone crosses a Bulldog with, say, Cerberus, the Bull Boxer might be a good choice for guarding the gates of your home. By the way, if you have any favorite crossbreed canines, let us know in the comments. 3. GROLAR bear. Now, if you're not familiar with the case of McFarlane's bear, it was an enormous ursid with pale tan fur that was documented in Canada's Northwest Territories in the 19th century. Well, it's now speculated that this mysterious beast may well have been a GROLAR bear. These are the offspring of polar bears and brown bears, and they have been documented to exist both in captivity and in the wild. Evidence of the rare hybrid's existence was confirmed in Nature in 2006 when an unusual-looking bear was shot and killed in the Canadian Arctic. In terms of physique, GROLAR bears, also known as Pizzly bears or Pizzlies, tend to have a size in between that of polar bears and brown bears. But in terms of their behavior, experts say the critters are closer to polar bears. 2. Ligers. Any fan of Napoleon Dynamite would tell you that this majestic critter is a magical cross between a lion father and a tiger mother. And those big cats combine to produce this enormous hybrid, which is regarded as the largest of all extant felines. Guinness, in fact, recognizes a specimen named Hercules as the world's largest living cat, weighing some 922 pounds or 418 kilograms. These biggest of the big cats are social like lions, and they enjoy playing in the water like tigers. And since the habitats of the parent species are not known to overlap in the wild, these animals are bred in captivity. Did you know that breeding lions with tigers dates to at least the 19th century in India, while the name liger appeared in the 1930s? 1. Killer bees. In the 1950s, the European honeybee was hybridized with its African counterpart, with the intention of increasing the production of honey. The hybrid insects were dubbed Africanized honeybees and introduced to Brazil. But 24 swarms of these tiny tares managed to escape quarantine in 1957. And after that, they spread from South America and on into North America. The Africanized bees gained the title of killer bees thanks to their very aggressive nature. They can deliver more than 10 times the stings of the European honeybee, will amass in swarms numbering 800,000 individuals, and are known to have killed at least 1,000 humans.